This cat comes home with a camera collar. When his owners saw the footage, they called the police. James had been the proud owner of his cat, Mr. Minky, for at least 3 years. Mr. Minky was an adventurous outdoor cat who loved to bask in the sun and play freely. James trusted his feline companion and allowed him the freedom to explore outside the house. Without fail, Mr. Minky always returned, usually around dinner time. However, on that fateful day, Mr. Minky didn't show up at all, leaving James consumed with worry and anxiety. The thought of something terrible happening to his beloved cat haunted him. Unable to bear the uncertainty any longer, James took matters into his own hands. His first step was to call the local shelters, desperately hoping that they had picked up his missing cat. He described Mr. Minky in great detail, providing any information that could help identify him. In addition to the phone calls, James spent hours creating posters, carefully describing his beloved cat and including his contact information. Determined to cover every possible avenue, he tirelessly put up posters around the neighborhood, hoping that someone had seen Mr. Minky. The days passed with no sight of the cat, and James's worry grew with each passing moment. Just as James was losing hope and his heart grew heavy with worry, an early morning brought a sound that made his heart skip a beat, loud meowing coming from downstairs. He shot out of bed, his adrenaline pumping, not even bothering to get dressed as he rushed downstairs. When he entered the kitchen, he was overwhelmed with emotions. James nearly collapsed on his knees, tears streaming down his face as he cried out of pure joy and excitement. It was his cat, Mr. Minky, standing before him. James couldn't believe his own eyes. Finally, his beloved feline companion had returned home, bringing a wave of relief and happiness. Overwhelmed with joy at Mr. Minky's return, James couldn't help but notice something peculiar around the cat's neck. There was a collar with a big white object attached to it. Curiosity piqued, James reached out to remove the collar, eager to unravel the mystery. However, Mr. Minky made it clear that he disagreed with this at all, resisting James's attempts. In the heat of the moment, James accidentally let the cat fall down, shocked by the sudden resistance. Determined to uncover the truth behind the strange collar, James refused to lose his courage. He thought long and hard about how to proceed, weighing his options. Eventually, he came up with a plan. James found a sleeping pill that wouldn't harm Mr. Minky and bought a bottle to keep his furry friend calm and asleep. With a mix of hope and apprehension, James tried to feed the pill to Mr. Minky. To his relief, the cat finally ate the food and went back to sleep, giving James the opportunity he needed. Sneaking over to Mr. Minky, he broke the collar into pieces and carefully examined its contents, eager to discover the secrets it held. Who was responsible for this shocking discovery? James could barely believe his eyes as he processed the contents of the collar. One thing was clear: the police needed to get involved in this quickly. The situation was too alarming for James to handle on his own. With a growing sense of urgency, he picked up the phone and dialed the police, ready to share his shocking findings. He knew that he had stumbled upon something serious, something that required immediate professional assistance. The police came and took the device to analyze it and find out what it contained. They also told James that other families had complained about their cats coming home with weird collars. Unfortunately, they were unable to get to the bottom of things because the collars disappeared as strangely as they appeared. They started investigating the collar, and soon the police traced it to a teenager who was testing tracking devices on cats. It seemed like a cheap and effective way to test the devices. Apparently, the teen didn't realize his actions scared the owners of the cats.